Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten why you went in there? Or maybe you found yourself rereading the same sentence in a book 3 or 4 times, hoping it finally sticks. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And let me just say right now, there's nothing wrong with you. It doesn't mean your brain is slowing down. It just means it's time to learn a few new tricks. You see, getting older doesn't mean your ability to learn has vanished. In fact, your brain is still incredibly capable. It's just playing by a slightly different rulebook now. And if we adjust to that, just like we've adjusted to everything else in life, we can absolutely learn new things, form new habits, and keep our memory strong. The truth is, after 60, learning isn't just possible. It can be easier, more enjoyable, and even more meaningful than ever before. So today, we're going to have a conversation. Just you and me. No big words, no complicated science lectures, just real, practical ways to learn faster and keep that memory sharp. I'm going to share 6 simple, proven memory-boosting techniques that have helped many older adults stay sharp, focused, and curious. And you don't need a fancy degree or a young brain or even a perfect memory to make these work. You just need a little curiosity and the willingness to try something new. Let's start with something small but powerful. Getting better sleep. Now, I know sleep is one of those things that gets trickier as we age. Maybe you wake up too early, or you toss and turn at night, or find it harder to stay asleep. But here's the thing. Good sleep is the secret sauce of learning. When you sleep, your brain isn't just resting. It's actually storing memories, sorting through information, and strengthening connections. It's like the overnight cleaning crew for your mind, tidying up everything you learned during the day. Even just a 20-minute nap in the afternoon can help lock in new information. Think of it like pressing the save button on your mental computer. Without sleep, that file might get lost. So try to create a simple, relaxing bedtime routine. Maybe turn off screens an hour before bed, enjoy a warm cup of herbal tea, or listen to calming music. It's not about perfection. It's about giving your brain the chance to do what it does best, even while you're resting. Now, once you've got sleep working in your favor, let's talk about something that might surprise you. Movement. Yes, physical movement. You might not connect walking around the block or doing some gentle stretching with better memory, but the link is stronger than you'd think. When you move your body, even just a little, you increase blood flow to your brain. That blood carries oxygen, nutrients, and all the good stuff your brain needs to stay alert and flexible. You don't need to train for a marathon. A gentle daily walk in the fresh air, a few minutes of Tai Chi, or even dancing around the kitchen while you make dinner, it all counts. And more than just helping you think better, movement boosts your mood. And a better mood means a more open, curious mind. In fact, there was a lovely woman I met. Her name was Marjorie, 72 years old, and just full of stories. She told me that every time she needed to memorize something, whether it was her new doctor's name or a line from a poem, she'd pace around her living room reciting it out loud. She said moving helped her brain catch up. And wouldn't you know it, science backs her up. Movement and memory are like old friends. They just work better together. And while we're talking about movement, let's add another layer to this. Engaging your senses. Now this is a fun one. You might notice that you remember things better when there's a smell, a sound, or a visual attached to them. That's not a coincidence. Our senses are closely linked to memory, especially as we get older. So if you're learning something new, a phone number, a name, or even how to use a new gadget, try pairing it with a sensory experience. For example, let's say you're trying to learn a few words in a new language, maybe French or Spanish for a little vacation dream. Try listening to music in that language while you practice, or cook a dish from that culture while studying the words. Your brain will associate the flavors, the rhythm, the feel of it all. And suddenly, it's not just memorizing, it's living the experience. Even writing things down by hand instead of typing them can boost your retention. That little physical act of writing helps your brain hold on to information more deeply. So grab a pen, find a quiet spot, and let your hand do a bit of the heavy lifting. You see, your brain is a beautiful thing. It's not broken. It's not too old. It's just a little wiser now. It wants meaning, it wants experience, and it wants movement. When you feed it in these natural, joyful ways, it rewards you with better focus, better recall, and a lot more confidence. Let's pause for just a moment. Now that we've set the stage with sleep, movement, and your senses, let's talk about something that's often underestimated. Focus, true, deep focus. And I don't mean multitasking or trying to juggle a dozen thoughts at once. No, I mean the kind of calm, intentional focus that lets your brain absorb information like a sponge. You see, our brains love attention. They crave it. But in today's world, even for those of us who didn't grow up with smartphones and constant notifications, distraction has crept in. Maybe it's the TV playing in the background while you're reading, or trying to learn something while your mind is running through tomorrow's to-do list. It happens. But here's a simple truth. The brain learns best when it feels like what it's doing is important and has your full attention. So the next time you want to really remember something, like the name of a new neighbor or how to use that new phone feature, try this. Remove the clutter, turn off the noise. Give yourself 10 peaceful minutes free from interruptions to just be with that new thing. It's amazing what happens when your brain realizes, oh, this matters. Let me hold on to this. One man I once spoke to, named Edward, shared how he made learning feel sacred. He created a little corner in his home, just a chair by the window and a small notepad. Every morning after breakfast, he'd sit there with a cup of tea and learn something small. Just one fact, or a quote, or a phrase in another language. No distractions, no pressure. He called it his brain tea time. And in those simple minutes, his memory improved. Not because he forced it, but because he gave it space to breathe. That leads us into another memory-boosting secret, and this one is as fun as it is powerful. Repetition, but with emotion. You've probably heard that repetition helps memory. And that's true. But repetition with emotion, that's where the magic happens. When you laugh, cry, feel awe, or even just connect something to a warm memory, your brain says, this matters. Let's keep it. Think about songs from your youth. Even if you haven't heard them in years, just a few notes can bring back the lyrics, the feelings, even the smell of the summer air back then. Why? Because those memories are wrapped in emotion. So when you're trying to learn something new, wrap it in something that means something to you. Let's say you want to remember the steps to use a new app on your phone. Instead of just reading the manual, make it personal. Say out loud what you're doing and why. Maybe joke with yourself, or better yet, teach it to someone else. The moment you explain it, especially with feeling, you strengthen those memory pathways. Emotion acts like glue. It helps everything stick. I remember talking to a woman named Teresa, who was learning to use Zoom for the first time. She was nervous, fumbling with buttons and feeling like it was too late to figure out. But then her granddaughter told her, "Nana, I want to read you my book report on Zoom." Suddenly, learning wasn't about technology anymore. It was about love. Teresa had that app down in one afternoon. Why? Because her heart was in it. Her why was clear. And speaking of that, here's a piece of advice that's not only powerful, but also deeply human. Find your why. When we're younger, learning often happens because it has to. School, jobs, responsibilities. But now you get to choose. You can learn anything you want, but the trick is to want it. Maybe you've always wanted to learn how to paint or play piano or understand Shakespeare. Or maybe you want to sharpen your memory to keep up with the grandkids, or feel confident speaking in a group, or simply to stay independent. Whatever it is, let that reason be your anchor. Because here's what no one tells you. Motivation isn't about discipline, it's about meaning. When something matters to your heart, your brain naturally leans in. And when your brain leans in, learning becomes joyful, effortless, alive. So far, we've looked at the role of sleep, the beauty of movement, the power of the senses, the gift of focused attention, and the wonder of emotion in learning. You're probably noticing a theme here. It's not about forcing your mind to work harder. It's about inviting your mind to work smarter, gently, naturally. And while we're on the topic of natural tools, let's talk about a quiet little hero in the world of memory: social connection. Now, you might not think of conversations or storytelling as brain exercises, but they are, hugely so. When you talk with someone about a book you're reading, a new recipe you tried, or even what you watched last night, your brain is recalling, sorting, and sharing. That process strengthens memory in a way that's both effective and enjoyable. A good chat over tea, a phone call with an old friend, or even sharing something in the comments of this very video, these are all brain-boosting activities, because memory isn't just about storing facts. Isn't it something how a simple conversation, a bit of laughter, or even the act of sharing a recipe can turn into a brain workout? You've probably realized by now that learning faster after 60 isn't about working harder. It's about creating the right environment, the right habits, and more importantly, the right mindset. And that brings us to one final beautiful piece of this puzzle: believing that you can. Now, I want you to really let that settle in. Belief, confidence, trust in yourself. It's more powerful than any app, any book, or any memory trick out there, because here's what decades of living have taught us. When you believe something is possible, you act differently. You approach the task with curiosity instead of fear. You give yourself permission to try, fail, learn, and try again. You might be thinking, but I've never been good at remembering things, or learning new stuff just doesn't come easy to me anymore. I get it. That voice in your head? We all have it. But that voice isn't the truth. It's just a habit. And just like any habit, it can be changed. The truth is, the human brain is incredibly resilient. Even well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond, your brain can grow new pathways, form new connections, and adapt in amazing ways. It's called neuroplasticity, and it's not science fiction, it's science fact. But it only activates when you challenge it, when you feed it, and when you believe it's still capable. So instead of saying, "I'm too old for this," what if you said, "I'm just getting started"? What if you approached every new piece of knowledge as a gift, not a test? I once met a gentleman named Carlos, 78 years old, full of charm and just beginning to learn digital photography. Now, he wasn't doing it to become a professional or win contests. He just wanted to capture the flowers in his backyard, the smiles of his great-grandchildren, the light on the lake at sunset. He said something that stuck with me. He said, "I don't care how long it takes me to learn. I just care that I'm still learning." That's the spirit I hope you take with you today. Let's take a quick breath and look at what we've explored so far, without listing, just reflecting gently. You've learned how sleep, movement, and engaging your senses lay a strong foundation. You've discovered the importance of focus, of emotional connection, and of repeating things in a way that feels meaningful. You felt the value of social connection, of sharing your knowledge, and of believing in your own potential. These aren't just memory tricks. They're part of a way of living that honors where you are in life and where you're still going. Learning faster after 60 doesn't mean rushing or trying to memorize facts like a teenager studying for exams. It means learning in a way that feels good, that suits your pace, your rhythm, your passions. And remember, small steps are powerful. Maybe you learn one new word a day. Maybe you try a new recipe and talk about it with a friend. Maybe you pick up a musical instrument or reread a favorite poem and find something new in it. Every time you engage your brain with intention, you're not only boosting your memory, you're nourishing your spirit. And here's something else I want you to carry with you. You're setting an example. Whether it's for your family, your community, or just the people who see you continuing to grow, your actions say something. They say, it's never too late to be curious. It's never too late to keep learning. So what can you do today? Right now, You can pick one small thing to explore, not because you have to, but because you want to. Choose something that lights you up. Let it be fun. Let it be challenging in the best way. Whether it's a book, a hobby, a class, or even this very video, give yourself the gift of curiosity. And if you ever doubt yourself, if that little voice tries to sneak back in and say you're too old or too slow, I want you to answer back with kindness, but with confidence. Say, I've come this far. I've learned so much already, and I'm still learning. I'm still growing, and that's something to be proud of. If you've enjoyed this conversation today, I'd love to hear from you. What are you learning right now? What's something new you've tried recently? Drop a comment below. I read them and I respond when I can. Your story might just inspire someone else who's watching this, feeling unsure. And if you found this helpful, if it made you smile, nod, or even feel a spark of hope, go ahead and like the video. It helps more people find this kind of content. And subscribe if you'd like more warm, real, and encouraging videos like this one. Before we wrap up, I just want to leave you with this thought. Learning isn't about age, it's about attitude. And your attitude, my friend, is more powerful than you think. Here's to learning something new every day. Here's to feeling alive and curious. Here's to living your best life at any age. Take care of yourself.